When weird meets weird, the Bob Hartley, Mike Bickle connection, right now on The Bearded Prophet. Hey, what's up, folks? Adam here. And I know most of you, or almost all of you, know who Mike Bickle is. And we've been talking about his ups and his downs and the ways that he's been exposed recently. But some of you may not know who Bob Hartley is, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about him and how his ways of doing things and Mike's were sort of a weird match made in heaven, but didn't always have the best results. So, who is Bob Hartley? He is a businessman, an entrepreneur, and a gentleman who knew Mike Bickle for years. I assume back in even the 80s and certainly the 90s. Bob Hartley is the guy that gave Mike Bickle the trailers that became the original IHOP, International House of Prayer, Kansas City. He donated these modular trailers that hosted the prayer room for about the first 4 or 5 years that it was up and running. So close connection between the two men. And Bob Hartley is someone who for years was involved in a kind of a business person's ministry that did a lot of prophecy and prophetic and encouragement. And if you ever run into Bob today, he'll probably want to start prophesying over you and speaking words over you. I remember once I ran into him like in the restroom at IHOP at the prayer room, and I barely know this guy like on any kind of personal level, and he just starts talking to me, and it's almost like a tape just starts running, and he's like, yeah, because we got to do this and you got to do that, the Lord is like this. Like, he just wanted to prophesy, he just wanted to preach, he just wanted to teach people. And I'm sure that some people, just like with Mike Bickle, got something out of the things he was saying. But man, this guy is weird. And just a quick aside, I was watching a video just last night, I think, or yesterday with my wife, and it was the 7-year anniversary of IHOP Kansas City. So this would have been 2006. IHOP would celebrate its anniversary every year, but 7 is kind of a biblical number, and they did a bigger thing for the 10-year, the 15-year, 20-year, and 25-year. But maybe at the 7-year, they did a little bit longer celebration. So we actually saw Misty Edwards, Dwayne Roberts, many other interns, Deborah Perkins. She now, is married, has a different last name. We saw all these people who were involved in IHOP and are now, many of them, either mired in the controversy or, like Dwayne Roberts is one of the leaders of the Advocate Group, and they're all testifying about the different things that were happening then. But something stands out because I was part of IHOP for over a decade, and so I saw these people every day in the prayer room. I saw Mike every week, sometimes twice a week up on that stage preaching and teaching. I saw these people, Misty leading worship for many years. And I saw Mike on the stage, and different people would say things and he would react in certain ways. And it started to hit me. I'm like, this guy's weird. Like, he's got some weird mannerisms. And I can't say I never noticed it before, but now that I've been out of that bubble for a couple of years, or 1 year maybe officially, but a couple of years kind of stepping back, and all these things have come to light, the things that I and so many other people passed over, or that's just Mike, or yeah, whatever, I'm like, he looks like kind of like an overgrown frat boy. And he would have these mannerisms that were like a 13, 14, 15-year-old boy, like, yeah, and he'd get all excited, and he's like kind of like a big kid. And I've seen this in other kind of narcissistic leaders and sometimes other ministry leaders, because for a while you could think this is kind of cute or kind of endearing, but then you start realizing something's kind of off. Like, why can't you just be serious? Or why, like, Mike was always interrupting people. I even commented once to Dean Briggs after a meeting, and I said, like, yeah, there's a point at which it's kind of cute or kind of funny or haha, that's just Mike. But I felt like he was interrupting consistently, breaking the flow of the minister who was trying to share important things or even prophesy. And he just kept butting in, interrupting, cutting. And I was like, that was not helpful. That was too much. That I don't think was appropriate. And Dean was sympathetic to what I was saying, but I think he made a point that, Mike's kind of earned that reputation. He can sort of do what he wants, in terms of interrupting people at that point. This is all pre-controversy. So, we all kind of, rub his shoulder. But I'll say something to him. I respect Dean a lot, overall. So, back to what I'm talking about here. Now I'm seeing with my own eyes. Now, some of you will post, I always knew he was a fraud. I always knew Mike was jacked up. Well, let me tell you, where were you 5, 10, 15 years ago, were you saying this? Were you saying this publicly? Or now that it's been revealed publicly that he had some serious character flaws and serious sin, now, oh yeah, I knew it all along. Hey, I'm just speaking the truth. If you did know, God bless you, but I never heard very many people say these things. For many, not saying nobody, there were voices, but not as many as I'm hearing now, my own included. So, back to Bob Hartley, Mike Bickle. So I've talked about this Bob Hartley guy. He, his son, Jed, or Jedediah, you'll see him. You can look up some videos. He was on The Green Room. Recommend you watch that. You know, he talks about growing up in the IHOP bubble, growing up in the IHOP community, and how his dad and his mom, you know, brought him to prayer meetings and modeled certain things and said certain things. Jed has a very interesting perspective. It's worth listening to. And he wrote a book, I don't know, maybe 8, 10, 12 years ago, kind of trying to paint his dad in a positive light. And he would share these funny stories. Bob was a funny guy. I mean, he's still alive, but, you know, he would tell funny stories, and Jed would write down these stories and how he would laugh, and these funny little stories his dad would tell, these funny anecdotes, sometimes kind of rambling stories. And Jed's conclusion, though, I did skim through the book, I read it, was maybe if we could be a little more lighthearted like my dad and learn to laugh a little bit more, we would be better people in life. We would do better in life. Life would be more fun or more meaningful. And I remember I'm reading the book, I'm tracking, I'm reading these funny stories. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny, ha ha ha. And I get to the end and I'm like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. That's not the answer. No, I don't receive that. And now, if you ask Jed, I think he's denounced the book, certainly his dad. He's like, no, this guy's a fraud. I don't respect him on many levels. The solution is not to just laugh off your problems or make up funny stories. We need reality checks here, people. I couldn't agree more. I'll share another anecdote. This one, I don't even know how this happened, but I was at a friend's house. It was kind of just a Saturday night hangout gathering. It wasn't spiritual. We just ate food and hung out. So there were maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 of us sitting in a circle talking, just telling stories. And for some reason, Bob Hartley showed up. I mean, this is a bunch of people, maybe mostly late 20s, early to mid 30s. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Bob Hartley walks in the room. I think he had like a friend with him, almost like a handler. And he kind of inserts himself right in the middle of this conversation and hangout time that we're having. And I, you know, he's talking to everyone, kind of like high energy, almost like he was on something, I don't know. And I kid you not, I turned to a friend of mine. Man, people learn to drive. I turned to a friend of mine and I say, this is like the kind of guy who would have like leopard skin pants on underneath. He was wearing like kind of those gym pants. I might call them gym shorts. They weren't shorts. They were full-length pants, like workout pants. And, you know, it's Saturday night, and he's wearing these workout pants. I don't care, you know, casual, just left out, like jogging pants or something. But I turned to my friend, I'm like, this is the kind of guy who would have, like, or I said, I don't know if I said, I bet you he has, like, leopard skin pants on underneath these workout pants. I kid you not. 30 seconds later, he, like, stands up, and he's, like, taking his pants off. And he's wearing, which is weird enough, right? He's like shaking them off, taking them off. He's wearing leopard skin, like, pants under those pants. I mean, she's like, no way, how'd you know this? I'm like, well, I don't know. The Holy Spirit must have whispered it to me. It's just weird, right? He's showing up at a young people's party. I mean, he's, you know, 50, 60 years old. Probably same age as Mike Bickle, 60, 62, 64, 65 at that point. I don't know. Maybe 58. It doesn't matter. And he's like looking for attention. And then he starts telling stories. And I can just tell half of them might be made up. And then I call the punchline on one of them. And he like leans over and he's like, never steal a man's jokes. You know, like it was a grown man's jokes or something. I mean, yeah, it was just weird, guys. It was weird. And then, you know, just another, you know, kind of that attention seeking. Like maybe that's why he and Mike got along so well. I mean, Mike loved and in some ways had to be the center of attention, and he was really good at it. He knew how to captivate the room, the microphone. I mean, I heard a quote once. They said, if there's a pastor meeting and Mike is there, like Mike's going to be running the meeting. And sure enough, you know, he has a gift of leadership. Doesn't mean he was righteous, just means he was strong in those areas. And so, I don't want to go on too much longer here, but I'm just telling you, like, weird attracts weird. And sometimes you can judge a person by their friends. Who are they spending time with? Who are they close with? And the Mike Bickle, Bob Hartley connection is obviously unnerving. And to see, I think what both men seem to have in common is they could not reckon with their defeats. They couldn't reckon with their dysfunctions. And the way that they've persisted is they just keep moving forward. Like I said, here's Bob Hartley. Like, I ran into him once at the gym, and he's there. He's got this real pretty, much younger woman with him. Now, she may just be his secretary. I can't accuse anybody of anything. I don't know. But I remember him, it just looks weird. He's there, and there's this woman dressed real nice, and she's kind of like chaperoning him around or going around with him.
There's a lane closure ahead.
Next to me, and he starts talking, and he's like, oh yeah, da-da-da. And then my wife told me she didn't want to be married anymore. It's weird. Like, we've been married like 30 years, and she just decided she didn't want to be married anymore, and da-da-da. But he's just going on. He's like just talking like it's like a tape. And I'm like, that's not true. Or like, she may have said that, but like, that doesn't just happen overnight. People don't just wake up one day and go, I don't want to be married, without warning signs, without bad dynamics, without like things you were just ignoring. And just to continue on, like, well, it's just happened. And I'm like, what planet are you on? So I think there's things to learn, things to look at, but the Mike Bickle, Bob Hartley connection is a weird one. And you can see some similarities, kind of that narcissistic, can't own what you did, can't reckon with reality. And then when you hit a wall, you just keep going with what you know. I'm going to prophesy more. I'm going to just pray more. I'm just going to do more. I'm not going to confront what I've done or what actually happened or what needs to change. And that's destructive, folks. I hope you don't fall into that. Would welcome your thoughts and your comments. Hope to see you again soon.